Aboriginal Australians had one of the oldest civilizations on Earth. Australia was discovered in 1606. Of course, it was already populated, but only recently did researchers learn for how long. Humans have lived in Australia for 50,000 years. This was revealed by an extensive DNA study in 2018. The first humans left Africa about 72,000 years ago. Around 50,000 years ago, the wave of migration reached Sahul. This was a prehistoric supercontinent. Sahul comprised what is now Australia, Tasmania, and New Guinea. 10,000 years ago, it was broken up by rising sea levels. At that time, Australians became genetically isolated. This makes them the world's oldest civilization. Traditionally, European historians didn't see them as civilized. Aboriginals were described as nomadic hunter-gatherers, but that's just because of existing preconceptions. The Gunjamara people actively farmed the landscape. Agriculture was accompanied by permanent dwellings. This fact was mentioned in the journals of early settlers. The Aboriginals built dams and wells. They planted, irrigated, and harvested seed. They preserved the surplus and stored it in sheds. This means they had a developed society. Australians were one of the first to invent bread. Egyptians started baking bread around 8000 BC. For a long time, they were considered the first to do so, but there's evidence that Australians did it 30,000 years ago. Archaeologists found a millstone at Cuddy Falls, New South Wales. It was used to crush plant seeds into dough. This traditional bush bread was still made in the 20th century. Apart from farming and cooking, Australians had some engineering skills. Their most famous invention is the boomerang. It has an angled shape with asymmetrical curves. It relies on asymmetrical lift, a complicated aerodynamic principle. The woomera is another uniquely Aboriginal invention. It uses leverage to allow a spear to be thrown up to 3 times farther. Australians also built elaborate fish traps. They even farmed fish, constructing a 62-mile eel farm on Lake Conda. It relied on a system of canals, link weirs, and ponds made of stones. The earliest known fish traps date back 40,000 years. They're among the oldest human-made objects in the world. Australians also had so-called bush medicine. Like all ancient medicine, it relied on the natural world. Australians used tannins to treat inflammation. They used alkaloids to relieve pain. They extracted antiseptics, such as tea tree oil, to cure infections. They also harvested latex to treat ulcers and skin conditions. Desert mushrooms were used to cure a sore mouth. The mushrooms were also used as natural teething rings for babies. Aboriginal Australians made toys for children to play with. These included rattles, dolls, spinning tops, and balls. They even made toy models of tools and weapons. Children made propellers out of strips of long leaves. These were launched into the air in throwing competitions. In North Queensland, Aboriginal men played a game of spinning tops. The tops were made from a rainforest gourd and hardwood. Only now are we beginning to discover this rich history.